the Jets, obviously, they have the longest streak of anybody in the NFL, longest playoff drought. They haven't been to the playoffs in over a decade. And not only was this franchise thinking about playoffs, I mean, they were thinking about Super Bowl. And their defense is definitely good enough to win a championship. They have a number one receiver. They have a complement of running backs with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. And then they thought they had the quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. So for him to get hurt, and now you have to go back to Zach Wilson, I think that's what it is, Kate. It's not only the fact that Aaron Rodgers got hurt. It's not like you have like another backup, right, to see, like maybe they drafted a rookie this year and you wanted to see how this guy fared, or maybe you picked up another veteran to come. It's like you got to run it back with Zach Wilson. And I think that is just as tough a pill to swallow as losing Aaron Rodgers. So it's tough. You know, the Jets right now on BetMGM are plus 550 to win the AFC East. As good as that defense is, their schedule is so hard this year. They have to play, obviously, their own division. They have to play Buffalo again. They have to play Miami twice. They have to play Kansas City. They have to play the Chargers. They have to play the NFC East. They get Dallas this week. They still have to play the Eagles. I mean, they got a tough schedule. So it's unfortunate for the Jets. You know, I'm glad they had that moment last night with the kick return and how they will be able to come from behind. But just losing Rodgers for the season is just, it is a huge, huge blow. So that is tough. What I will say, Kate, I think it was a good gambling lesson last night that I jumped on the Jets plus 500 money line when Josh Allen threw that third interception. The Bills had so many chances to just put the Jets away, and they couldn't do it. And then after that third pick, I'm like, you know what? They're just asking to get beat. And they ended up getting beat. So I think that was a good lesson last night. Like, the Jets clearly are going to struggle to score points this season. And if they play a game like they did last night where their defense is forcing turnover after turnover, maybe you take a stab on them to win on the money line because, again, in the NFL, like, you're just asking to get beat if you continue to turn the ball over like the Bills were last night.
I mean, same story, different day for Buffalo, right? That was what Josh Allen, his Achilles heel last season, was turning the ball over. So credit to the Jets for taking advantage of it. And that's maybe how you bet the Jets going forward, because betting them at what did you say, plus 550 to win the division? I mean, sure, decent number, but that's not going to happen. So why waste your money, you know? So you're looking at probably betting the Jets on a game-to-game basis if you want to back them at all this year versus betting them in the futures market at all, because they are, with that defense, going to be able to make some plays against even some of the best offenses in the league. And that's probably what's going to keep them in games similar to last year is their defense. So taking a flyer on, you know, money line, mid-game, some live betting situations, things like that, that's probably, if I'm going to bet the Jets going forward, that's going to be the way I do it versus their win total or division, conference, Super Bowl. All that stuff is probably completely out of the question right now, especially if they keep Zach Wilson, who I did think looked okay, better than last year. He seemed to have more control of that offense that he did last year. So he's starting to grow a little bit, but not something you want when you expected Aaron Rodgers to be your quarterback all season. That's a massive step down for the Jets. So betting them going forward, for me, it's going to be a game-by-game basis, maybe some live betting, things like that. I think, you know, you taking them plus 500 to win last night. That was a great snag.
It's going to be interesting to watch how Josh Allen kind of plays throughout the year. Like, is this the game that is the turning point? Like, football is a team game, and all the players will say that. But, like, Josh Allen's the reason the Bills lost that game last night. I truly believe if the Bills would have handed the ball off every single play after Rodgers got hurt or when they had a 10-point lead, like, they don't lose that game. It was the turnovers that got the Jets back in it. So that's a tough one to swallow. He's going to have to bounce back. With that being said, you know, I still think that maybe there's interesting value now on the Bills because of the Rodgers injury. We were talking about the Jets' odds to win the AFC East. Buffalo's now plus 145 to win the division. Miami's plus 125. And I know Miami looked awesome. And when Tua is out there, they're one of the best offenses in the league. But again, like, can we trust Tua to stay healthy? Can we trust him to stay healthy? And at the end of the day, the Bills played a great defense. They were on the road. Allen's not going to face many defenses better than that all season, so I think he's going to be okay. I still think the Bills win the division at the end of the day. Do you like the Bills to win this division, Kate, or do you like Miami?
I really like Miami, but to your point, if Tua goes down with an injury similar to Rodgers, even misses 4 or 5 weeks, there goes the Dolphins season right there. We saw that last year. As soon as he went out, the Dolphins lost a bunch of games. So the durability of Josh Allen is why I like the Bills. And that's durability even with the recklessness that you're talking about of him not sliding, of lowering his shoulder. He did that once early in the first quarter. I was thinking, what in the world? Just get out of bounds. I mean, that's totally different if this is the AFC title game to go to the Super Bowl and you're on the 4-yard line and just need to power it in. That's different. This is week 1. I would hope with what he said in his post-game press conference, like, this is the same thing that happened last year and we're still dealing with it. And I'm the reason this team lost. I hope that turns things around for him and kind of is an eye opener because if they continue to do like this, they're not going to win the division. But because of Tua's health and the question marks around there, if he can make it through the whole season, I'm with you. I think the Bills have to be your bet in this division going forward because they do have a very good offense and defense. And last night played against one of the best defenses in the league. And on a night where that defense had to step up big time because they lost Aaron Rodgers. So Bills are my favorite going forward in this division. I think plus 145, you're getting them at a decent price. Love the way the Dolphins look, but I am concerned with Tua.
I like the Jets in this game, plus 9.5. I'm going to wait though, because I'm hoping we get a 10. I'm hoping that Cowboys money continues to come in, and I would love a 10 with the Jets. We talked about at the start of the show, with the Aaron Rodgers injury, the Jets aren't going to do anything this season. They're not winning their division. They're not going to the playoffs most likely. Maybe they sneak in, but probably not. They're certainly not winning the Super Bowl with Zach Wilson as their quarterback. However, I think this is a great spot to back the Jets this weekend because I think the narrative all week is going to be just that the Jets are done. They can't win games with Zach Wilson. Their season's over and this and that. When those kinds of things tend to happen, when a key player is lost for the year and everybody's talking bad about that, it like galvanizes the locker room and they rally behind it and they use that as a source of motivation. I was watching Micah Parsons was doing like one of his shows or something, and he was talking about how he was already thinking about Aaron Rodgers. Like he just couldn't wait to play against Rodgers. So now the Cowboys are like, we got to go against Zach Wilson this week. When the narrative around a team is that they're done and that when they're, one of their best players gets hurt and they're not going to do anything that season, it's just like, you'd be surprised at how a team responds from that. So we're getting a Cowboys team, obviously, that everybody just saw win 40-0. Couldn't have looked more impressive. Now we're getting a Jets team who had a great win, but now that is gone and everybody's kind of had the day to look back on it, people don't think highly of this Jets team. So again, I'm going to wait. I'm hoping we get a 10 because I would love a 10 in a game like this with two really good defenses. But I like the Jets, Kate. I think they can keep it close. And, I don't think it would be crazy to take a stab with them on the money line because we saw with Josh Allen last night that a turnover-prone quarterback, right, who plays against a defense like that can certainly keep you in a game. So if the Jets defense is able to do what they did last night, we have to remember, too, the game plan going into last night was all around Aaron Rodgers. And they completely had to flip it and do what Zach Wilson likes to do and kind of formulate a game plan around his strengths. So now you have a whole week to game plan against Wilson. You have a whole week to have him run with the number one guys in practice. I like the Jets. I think they can keep it close. All right, Kate, it's time to talk about your Chicago Bears. They are +3 against the Bucs. The over-under is 41.5. What are your thoughts on Chicago this week against Tampa?
I'm not super high on wanting to bet them in this game, especially against Tampa Bay, who looked pretty good against Minnesota. And maybe this is another one where we're putting too much stock in Tampa Bay and not enough in Chicago. So, PJ, I don't want to play this game. I don't want to have any money on the Bears, and I'm not comfortable backing Baker Mayfield either. So, I'm staying away from this one completely, but I know that you like something in this game. So, hit me with your analysis of this one.
Kate, you don't want any part of this game, but I want all part of this game. Give me the Bears +3 against the Bucks. This might be my best bet of the entire week. It's certainly in the top 2. Oh my God, I love Chicago. Absolutely. So it's everything we've been talking about. It's a home team coming off an embarrassing loss, having to go on the road the following week. Because here's what's going to happen. Everybody came into the season with all this Justin Fields hype, right? And everybody thought he was going to be great. Guy was 5-20 as a starting quarterback. I never understood it. Like, yes, he was a highlight reel, but he didn't win any games. So you play against the Packers, who, as you know, the Packers dominate the Bears. So it is what it is. I'm really not taking too much out of that game. What I am taking out of is the fact that the Bucks are favored by 3 in this game, which is absolutely absurd. The look-ahead line had Chicago favored in this matchup. The Bucks, the summer line, the Bucks were +7 against Minnesota. That spread closed at Minnesota -4. So people were betting that game like they knew what was going to happen. Like they knew that the Bucks were going to keep it close and maybe even win that game outright, and they did. Now we're getting a Tampa Bay team who, Kate, I think right now everybody is kind of thinking the way you are, where it's like, you know what? Maybe the Bucks aren't that bad. Maybe, their defense is pretty good. They got 2 good receivers. Like maybe they just win a couple games this season. This is the classic Baker Mayfield game where he shows up and throws like 3 interceptions. And people are going to be watching it on Sunday, and they're going to be like, there's the Baker Mayfield I know. Like, that's the Bucks team I expected to see. And on the flip side, I think Chicago is going to turn the narrative around a little bit, where right now the entire city of Chicago is just, they're so disappointed. They're so frustrated because there was so much excitement. You had the Packers at home to start the year, and not only did they lose, like they lost badly, and they were embarrassed. But they turn around. At the end of the day, it was 1 game. And like, this is the ultimate overreaction game where maybe Tampa is a little better than we all thought, and maybe Chicago is worse than we all thought, but it's not this. It's not, it should not be Bucks. It should not be Bucks +1.5 to Bucks -3. Like, there's no way I can justify a 4.5 point move off of 1 week. So it's all about the Bears. I'm shocked, quite frankly, we're getting a +3. Like, the fact they're giving us a key number in this game, I think is surprising. I love the Bears +3. I love them on the money line +135. There's so many reasons to like the Bears in this matchup. I think Tampa's going to be one of the most public plays of the week, too, because of how bad the Bears looked and how surprising the Bucks were. At the end of the day, you still have to remember this team is being coached by Todd Bowles, and this team is still being quarterbacked by Baker Mayfield. There's no way I'm laying 3 points with them in this matchup. Kate, it's all about Chicago +3. They're going to win this game outright. They're going to win this game. I love 5 games this week, Kate. It's like picking between children. I can't. I love them all equally. The Bengals are there. The Steelers, love the Steelers. I love the Bears. I love the Jets. And then I love the Seahawks. Those 5 games. I love them. I know a bunch of people are in, those super contests where they have to pick 5 games against the spread. Those would be my 5 games. And I feel really good about them. I'm going to parlay those together. I'm going to pick all of those dogs on the money line. Maybe not the Jets in a parlay. Maybe do that separately. But the Seahawks, Steelers, and Bears, absolutely. Kate, I love the board this week. Sometimes there are just weeks where it all lines up. You get 4 or 5 games that you really like. That's this week for me. Week 2 of the 2023 NFL season. I'm feeling good things. I think we're going to have ourselves a week. At least I hope we do.